Hey everybody, how's it going? So, there is a hearing in Maryland regarding right to repair in the Senate on March 11th at 1 p.m. That's the good news. The bad news is that in Maryland, there's a hearing in the House on March 11th at 1 p.m. regarding right to repair as well. And due to the limitations of space time, I'm not able to be in this room and testify at the same time because I am one person with one camera and, one body. I can't really testify in two rooms at the same time. This is a problem that's going to become more and more commonplace as time goes on and as more of these bills are introduced. It's a problem that popped up with Washington and Maine because the hearings were very close together. Due to some sort of car crash or accident on the I-5, I missed a flight, and I wasn't able to get to Maine until about half an hour before it was time to testify. I showed up with this crumpled shirt that I had slept on in the airplane because I didn't even have time to iron it at the hotel before running to get to the hearing. I enjoy being able to testify at these hearings, even if I'm not able to change the minds of the politicians. Just being able to plant a seed there is something that I enjoy. And I enjoy being able to show people a little bit of insight into how their government works. Which politicians listen to you and which politicians play with their phone while you talk. Which politicians are for or against a bill for legit reasons. Which politicians are against the bill because they didn't bother reading it or taking any effort to understand how any of this works. I think that it's important that in a democracy, people make these types of voting decisions based on understanding how their politicians actually act. And I really enjoy being able to film that. And above all, it's kind of fun to hear people say that magtrometers will explode and security, innovation, blah, blah, blah. It's interesting to hear the awful TikTok arguments that the lobbyists will use against right to repair. I like being able to record that so that you can hold companies accountable for spreading false information. The thing is, I don't know how to make this work at this point. I enjoy what I do. And with my business, it's very easy when I have this problem to scale because my business generates revenue. So if I need more people to fix boards, it's because I have more board repair business, I hire more techs, I pay them the money from the increased board repairs that we get, and it works. If we have more customers showing up, I need more customer service people, I hire more customer service people, I train them, they're able to do the job, and we get more money from the fact that we have more customers that I can use to pay more customer service people. If there's more right to repair hearings, this is something where I don't really know how I would get to a point where I can pay another camera person or train another lobbyist in the art of refuting BS Charlie Brownish type of magtrometer exploding arguments. I would have to pay that person a salary, but the more right to repair hearings there are, doesn't necessarily mean that there's actually more revenue. This is not really a revenue generating part of the business. So I've been coming up with a couple of ideas in my head that I'm throwing around on how I could make something like this work so that in the future, if there are two hearings at the same time that have to be recorded and testified in, that I can make this work with actual trained professionals. And one of the ways that I've been thinking of doing this is by adding a sponsor to some of the right to repair videos. So at the beginning of a hearing video or at the beginning of a video where you get to hear the lobbyist testify, you'd hear something along the lines of, "This video brought to you by Amscope, the official microscope of right to repair." Or, "This video brought to you by Quick Hot Air ESD Safe Rework Stations, the official ESD Safe rework station of right to repair." Some crap like that. You'd see their logo and then like a little coupon code or some shit for their website so that they'd get a little bit of exposure and they would pay to be featured on the video. I'm just throwing out random companies here. I'm thinking that something like this may be something that is necessary going forward. It's not something I've ever even remotely considered for my normal videos because my normal videos don't really require much in terms of like hiring people. I mean, I hired more people to take care of the front and also to do other basic disassembly and reassembly so that I have more time to do board repair videos. But again, even those jobs, they're jobs where they are taking in money for the business, and admittedly the business owner should not be the one that's fixing everything and reassembling everything and doing all the keyboard and screen replacements in the first place. But here, this is something where I am going to be paying someone somewhere in the realm of, something resembling a respectable salary. Like, you're going to be getting paid like $3,000 or $6,000 a month or something to be a professional camera person / lobbyist that shows up at hearings for something that doesn't generate revenue. So I do have to come up with some way, shape, or form to bring in revenue for there to be something to pay someone who just does this plus the travel expenses, and I'm not really coming up with much other than some sort of multiple sponsorship. So I'm thinking if there's 5 or 6 companies that show up on the beginning of each Right to Repair video with their logo, like the official pry tool of Right to Repair, the official hot air station of Right to Repair, the official microscope of Right to Repair, the official desk mat of Right to Repair, the official doorstop of Right to Repair, the official OSB in place of plywood of Right to Repair. That shows up in the beginning of the video. If we got like 5 or 6 of those, that would pay for someone else to be there so that I could actually show up at 2 hearings at once, or have a lobbyist that just, as a job, shows up and has robust conversations prior to there being hearings, so that when there is a hearing, instead of them all saying, oh yeah, so I just spoke with the CTA over lunch today, or I got an email from CTA today, or I spoke to some of the lovely people from John Deere today before this hearing. Like, no more of that shit. They'll actually be saying something like, oh yeah, I got to speak to John Deere, but then I got to speak with some people from Rossman Lobbying Group today who bought me a better lunch than the John Deere people, and they said that this is why this is a good bill. Like, I'm thinking that is what we could start doing here. So this is something where I was already producing and editing my own content. It doesn't really add to the cost of it. But if I start hiring people to travel around the country and film stuff, and I need that person to be a trained lobbyist, that is something that is going to cost a pretty penny. And I'm not sure how to get that done without adding something like this to the way that the YouTube channel works and how I do business. So I'm not quite sure how I should structure something like this, and that's why I'm making this video, so that I can ask all of you to brainstorm and kind of give me ideas. I don't always have the brightest ideas when I first have a question, but maybe you'll have some bright ideas. My email address is lewis@rossmangroup.com with 2 S's and 2 N's, LOUIS@rossmangroup.com. I am taking the day off because I haven't had a day off since Christmas, and I'm kind of starting to become brain dead from it, and I would like time to go through my email inbox. So probably won't be able to reply to you for at least a couple of days, since there's like 1,000 unread emails in there, but I promise that I will make the time to read them, and I will try to reply to the stuff that I think are better ideas. If you're a company that's in the repair business, do let me know if this is something that makes sense for you to be a part of. You would get your name out there. People could potentially see that you support Right to Repair as a legislation being passed, and it may be one of those relationships that actually works out. But that's just one way I've been thinking of having this go forward. But if any of you have other ideas on how to make something like this work, I'm also open to hearing all different types of ideas. But right now, I really am facing this challenge because I am going to be flying out to Maryland in a few days, and I have no idea how to be in 2 rooms at the same time as one person. There's no amount of workaholism or multitasking that allows me to testify in this room at 1 p.m. at the same time as this room at 1 p.m. So do let me know what you think, and send an email, leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure to read it once I get some sleep. Thank you very much, and as always, I hope you learned something.